Welcome to EduTech Radio, radio.edutechguys.com. Hey, welcome to EduTech Guys Radio, radio.edutechguys.com. We're glad to be here. It's another Wednesday, and it's summertime. Some changes up for the show today. David Henderson is still out. This time he's actually ill. He partied way too much during vacation. Too much ice cream and too much sun. No, David's out. He's got an illness. And unfortunately, we were hoping to have Kevin Honeycutt today to do a interview with us and talk to us about what he does and all of the cool things he does with Maker and all that kind of stuff and ISTE. But unfortunately, due to unforeseen circumstances, we won't have Kevin Honeycutt on today. But it is a good day, and I'm here, Jeff Madlock, and I'm here with
Greg Moore.
Greg Moore's here. So we're going to give you a quick short show. We say short show, but there's a good chance that, you
can never tell whenever we're going to just go on for an hour or whatever and just not be able to shut up.
That's exactly right, because we can start fighting with each other. That happens often. Anyway, a couple things right off the bat. Some stuff came down last week and then this week concerning the Arkansas ISO Policy 7.16, which is concerning information technology security. And the Arkansas School Board adopted the policy, and it does add a few new things to it. Greg handles most of that for us, and I hate that David's not here because David does handle it quite heavily because he is the technology coordinator for the cooperative area. So, he's got all of us schools under his umbrella. But, Greg, tell us some of the things you think might be important changes or, stuff that's happened with it.
As for changes, that's a good question. There's a fair number of things in the document, and I love that title, 716, in the ISO 716. I mean, that's just super catchy.
It does sound catchy, doesn't it?
We're going to have that in songs for years, the old ISO 716.
I have my ukulele here. I was going to work on that on the side while you're finishing that up.
I spoiled it for you. Yeah, I think schools have a tendency to react to these sorts of things in one of two ways. Either you're totally with the state, and it's like, oh yeah, okay, we've got another one of these to adopt, or you sort of grumble whenever you get a new one. And I'll admit that my first knee-jerk reaction was, okay, what do we have to implement now? What do we have to change now? But after reviewing the document, it's generally good stuff. It covers various aspects of IT security, from everything what you could disclose about student personal identifying information, which has probably been in there forever, to wireless security stuff, to network security for inside and outside the network. And I think speaking generally about security, I think it tends to lean towards a good balance between security and usability, but there are a couple of instances where it goes too far in one direction or the other. And I think something that people both inside and outside the technology sphere think about quite often is the balance between usability and security. It's tricky to get right, because oftentimes people who aren't in IT, they see security as like a light switch. You're either secure or you're not secure. You turn on the security and then you're magically secure, or you don't have it turned on and you're insecure. But security in the information technology sphere is a lot more nuanced than that. It's a lot in the design of how you put things together, as well as just your general approaches and the way you look at the system as a whole. So,
I noticed it was really funny when I took this to the superintendent's attention. We pulled open the good old state policy handbook.
Oh yeah.
And the last one we had was 1 page. So this one has increased by 3 pages.
Yes.
That's how I like to weigh out policies, is exactly how many pages they take up.
Yes, exactly.
The policy's great. If you haven't seen it, it is on a commissioner's memo. I think the commissioner's memo...
yeah, it's down here at the bottom.
Is it at the bottom somewhere?
It's on the notes.
The commissioner's minutes, I think it's at the very bottom, actually. There it is. It's memo RT-15-010. So if you want to check it out on the commissioner's memo, if you're here in the state of Arkansas and want to check that one out, please do. I think it's shared on the sysadmin list also, so you can get a copy of it out there. Or if you want to, just hit us up at EduTech Guys, or me, Jeff Madlock, jeff.madlock@hpsdistrict.org, and I'll send you a copy. So we can make sure you get it. But the state does have it out there. They do want it followed, and there's some changes a lot of districts are going to have to make. We're going to have to make just a few small changes to meet some of the new requirements that they've asked for. But overall, I think it's going to be it'll be a good thing. I mean, at least they have a plan.
Yes, yes,
So-
absolutely.
And having a plan is part of it. So shifting away from that, that's what's going on here in the state. It is summertime, so I know most of the techs are out there fixing networks and adding access points and doing inventory and cleaning up all that good stuff. Just a little teaser. You should start to look into NFC. A little near field communication stuff out there. Something else we'd like to hear from you about. What are you doing out there for student IDs? What's happening out there in the world? Let us know. Let us know what you're using for student IDs. Are you using barcodes? Are you using near field communication? Is that right? Near field?
Yep.
Yeah.
Near field communication.
So if you're using that good stuff, how are you running your lunchroom stuff? That would be a great one to look at.
Yeah.
You got anything on that?
I think
I just look at Greg and just give him hey, it's your turn.
It's the ball. Oh, I've got the ball now. What do I do with it? Yeah. So there are things to be done there. And I think the real issue there is just the logistics of the whole thing. Is it really worth it? What are you actually getting out of your security? I mean, your student ID system. Where are you using it? Are you using it with just one thing? Are you using your student IDs in a couple of different places? Is it worth the trouble? And that's really that ties back into the 716 is the security is a balance. Security in the realm of the 716 document or with student IDs it's a balance between usability and security. And I think a lot of the time techs have a tendency to go either way overboard or not quite far enough. It's very hard to strike a balance there.
I agree.
And I think that's something that's worth discussing what is the right balance.
When it comes to security, back in the old days, and I would say old days, it actually is becoming 15 years ago when we put in the first AD here, and when we started doing that. And, in the 90s, it was peer-to-peer. It really was.
Work groups and all that good stuff.
It really was. There was nothing else you could do. Novell was out there, but... but, not that Novell's bad. For those of you that are still using Novell, get away from it. Novell was out there, but... When we started doing that, it was interesting. The goal used to be lock it down as tight as possible and only let people do what they need to do.
Right.
And it's funny, 716 actually kind of reads that way in a few
really
places.
Does.
It reads is like employees should only be allowed to do what they need to do their job. But it's funny. It's the disconnect between the state of the DIS, the information systems at large areas, not just Arkansas, but everywhere, and what's happening in the workshops and what's happening in the classrooms and flipped classrooms and the differentiation that we're making in classrooms.
Bring your own device.
Yeah, bring your own device.
One-to-one. And
so it's really like, actually, we want to let you run in this field as crazy as you want to run in this field, and we're going to try to make sure that there's no potholes that you trip over and there's no wild animals to jump out and kill you as you're running through this field.
Right, and that's the idea. It's like, okay, and that's the sort of conflict that we're in with the whole idea of bring your own device and one-to-one. There's really a key sort of an amount of freedom that in order to make that work, you have to give the users a certain degree of freedom on their own devices to make it theirs. Otherwise, it doesn't really do what the whole goal of one-to-one is, and that's having people chase after their own solutions. Both students and teachers and that sort of thing.
And even at the simplistic base of this is the fact that we want to teach kids to be good netizens. I mean, that's
right.
The key for us to do is to teach them that you're going to learn how to act on the network and in a work environment and in school and on the internet at school, because when they get out of here, no matter where they're working,
right?
Being a good netizen, I'm using that word, netizen, yes. Air quotes,
yes.
Netizen is important. So I think that's a really big deal. As you know, you're listening to radio.edutechguys.com. This is Jeff Matlock and Greg Moore. We're here today talking to you. David Henderson is still out. He actually has an illness now, and so he's just out. He'll be back next week, he promises. I think he has 17 IVs and he's in 2 CAT scans. So, no, but he'll be back as soon as he can. So we're running an abbreviated show today because we were hoping to have Kevin Honeycutt on today, but that interview fell through. But he will be on in the near future, and we'll get some great stuff from him. So it was kind of out of the blue. So like I said, we're running an abbreviated show today, but we do have a couple topics to talk about. One of those that I wanted to bring up is, are you blogging? Is blogging a big deal? Yes and no. It's always been a big deal. I think it's interesting to blog even if it's just for yourself.
Even just the process of writing, whether that's on a blog or in a notebook or whatever.
Journal or that's the interesting part about blogging is that it's so easy to do at this point. I mean, blogging on the internet is just a no-brainer. There's so many free sites out there that you can set up a free site on. Tumblr, tumblr.com, Wix, Wix.com. WordPress.
One of our favorites.
Well, WordPress, if you don't know about WordPress, then you need to dig around that hole in the ground and pull your head out. No, you need to really look up WordPress. That platform has grown from a blogging platform to just a massive platform, period. It's a web platform.
Yeah, it's just about it really straddles the line between a blog platform and a content management platform. This point.
It does. It really does. More businesses are using it. There are so many devs out there doing some crazy stuff with WordPress. So that's WordPress.com, WordPress.com. And the good old favorite Blogger, Blogger.com. That's owned by Google now. In fact, you can use your Google login to create your Blogger account, and it's tied directly to your Google account. So that's a really nice one to have out there. So blogging, that includes podcasting. So you if you don't want to write it, you could always just talk about it.
Exactly.
We like to hear our own voices, so maybe that's why we do this. But you could do a podcast. A key integral part of that is that when you're ready to put it out there, it's time to hit the social media strip. Twitter, Facebook, Google+, LinkedIn, Snapchat, is it Vine?
Vine.
There's Instagram. There's so many social outlets that you can start to get your stuff out there.
Right.
And it's funny. I don't think most people realize that you could do an Instagram where you post some pictures that link back to your blog.
Right. The social media aspect is what brings people to your blog. So often, you see people who use Twitter and they use it at a personal level, where it's just like, okay, a little 140 character snippet of this is what I'm interested in, this is what's going on. But it doesn't take people anywhere. It's all right there within that social media sphere. Whereas whenever you're blogging, whenever you're taking time to lay out your own ideas in a larger sort of long form writing or podcasting sort of form, the social media sphere is what gets people. It's what gets you an audience. It's not the whole shebang. It's just the advertising portion.
Yeah, and that way it's actually targeted.
Right.
One day we need to get Kyle Finley on here and talk about that. I mean, that's what he's into now. Is mining your target audience.
Right. Exactly.
And that's not all he's into. He's into some if you're looking for somebody to build you socially, that guy really knows how to do it. And it's interesting, why would we be talking about that in education? Because PR is PR. Right. And, looking good with the community is looking good with the community.
Yeah, and we are in the digital age, as they say. So, yeah, PR is no longer just the newspaper. It's no longer just calling people up on the phone with a calling system. It's so much of it is moved to Facebook and Twitter and that sort of thing. And if you aren't filling that sphere, somebody else is going to. So I think there was a service that we were looking at just recently where they would actually build up your Facebook page and monitor your Facebook page for you for the district or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what that company's name was.
Let's give them a shout out. Aptigee.
Aptigee, that was them. Yes.
Aptigee out of Little Rock, Arkansas. apptegui.com, I believe. Really neat company. They're doing some really great stuff to make communications easier for school districts. So you could check them out. They're out of Little Rock, Arkansas. I want to give them a shout out.
Yeah, and just to give people a space to talk about and to interact with the community. because if the school district doesn't create it, it's still going to be talked about. So it brings the school district visibility. It's like, okay, where are we falling down? Where are we not fitting in with the community? Where are we not filling the community's needs?
Yeah, that's a really big one. I think that that's in the future is going to be even a bigger deal. A lot of schools can't afford a PR person.
Yeah.
And if you could, take that and make it an easier job.
Right. Someone for a secretary or for.
Yeah. But if a principal could do it.
Oh yeah, even.
Or a coach or a band director or any teacher could instantly,
interface
boom.
with the community. Yeah.
And there was a centralized place. I think that's what Apogee does.
Really,
it
puts it all in one place.
Yeah. I tell you what, you listen to radio.edutechguys.com. Visit us on the web, edutechguys.com, edutechguys.com. You can find a link on that site. Actually, it's embedded. You can listen to the show from there. Also, we want to give a shout out to Mixlr.com, mixlr.com. That's who we're broadcasting through right now. Wonderful site, wonderful company. Teachers, you can always broadcast your own radio show through Mixlr.com 1 hour at a time for free. Can't beat it. You can have one for every classroom. Don't forget to listen to us each Wednesday at 3 p.m. this summer. And I'll tell you what we're going to do right now. We had a new intro song today from Nick Flora. Nick Flora is a guy we all know. Local Arkansas guy, great singer. That song was called "Presence of Greatness," and it was the intro tag to it. And Nick had told me that I could use any of his music. I hope he meant that I could cut up a piece of it and use it that way. But
we're going to be sued.
I have that message in Twitter, and so I'm just going to say, you said this, and this is how I interpreted it. But I tell you what, we're going to feature Nick right now in that whole song. This is Nick Flora, and in the Presence of Greatness.
Something to say, something that will blow your mind. The moment I hit the stage, I'm sure you felt it inside. You know my knack for hyperbole. This song might make you fall in love with me. It's happened before, so sit back and know that this bomb is set to explode. I'm like a shark in a tank with t-shirts in the back. Here we go, I'm flying so low, so you can all grab a hold of me, so you can take in this presence of weakness that I emit so naturally. You might be surprised to see just what I've got up my sleeve. Oh, just you wait and see. A quick show of hands, how many lives have been changed? It's getting hard to keep track with all the records I've made. There's something to be said for humility, but that's got more to do with you than it does with me. So sit back and react, cause this you ain't never seen. And on the count of three, you'll be bursting at the seams for more of me. Here we go, I'm flying so low, so you can all grab a hold of me, so you can take in this presence of greatness that I emit so naturally. You might be surprised to see just what I've got up my sleeve. Oh, just you wait and see. Intentions, and you've got cash to spend, and by my labels, calculations, well that makes us the best of friends. So here we go, I'm flying so low, so you can all grab a hold of me, so you
radio.edutechguys.com. You're listening to us live from Hope, Arkansas. I'm Jeff Madlock,
I'm Greg Moore.
and you're listening to us. Listen to us.
To all of us.
Sorry, I was having a small seizure there. Hey, that was Nick Flora, a really great guy. If you want to catch him on the internet, on the interwebs, you want to catch him at Nick Flora. I believe that's it. Did I get that right?
On Twitter.
On the Twitters. Let me make sure I'm not telling you a story here. Yeah, at Nick Flora. That's NICKFLORA. I think he's booking shows for next year. If you're looking for some great music in the house, he likes to do house shows. So if you want to bring him into your place and have him do a house show for you and your friends, a back porch, outside, if you're throwing a party during the fall or in the spring of next year, you want to take a look at Nick Flora. Hey, I'm Becker with Greg. Like I said, we have an abbreviated show today. David Henderson is out today. He's got an illness, but he will be back next week. Hopefully we had an interview with Kevin Honeycutt, but due to circumstances beyond our control, that kind of fell through. So hopefully in the next upcoming weeks, we will have him on here in the near future. I'm just having a hard time today.
It's allergy season.
It's allergy season.
Man, I don't know what's blooming, but it's awful. It is really bad.
So like I said, it will be a shortened show today, so I'm going to drop out a few nuggets of tech news here. One, David had put in our show liner notes, we try to have a little table of contents, a
rough
list
outline
to go with. One is Apple Boot Camp 1.5.4. It drops Windows 7 support.
Yep. End of an era.
That is kind of an impact for schools.
Yeah, absolutely. Since, as Microsoft tends to do, it's sort of an in-joke that every other release that Microsoft puts out of their operating system is you want to steer clear of it, and so that held true with. Okay, you didn't want to run Windows ME, but XP was okay, and then you didn't want to run Vista, but 7 was good, and that held true for Windows 8. And so Windows 7 has been the go-to operating system for a long time now. And I can't believe it's been, gosh, how long has it been? Like 10 plus years since it was released?
Yeah, isn't that wild?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And so Windows 10 is just around the corner, and Apple, as they are wont to do, they're very aggressive with killing off old stuff and pushing forward for the new. They were one of the first ones to remove floppy drives from their machines, and everybody went crazy about that.
Yeah.
And they were the first ones to adopt USB, and they pushed USB. So they're always chasing that next horizon.
Yeah. Which sometimes gets them in a little trouble.
Oh yeah, there's always a fine balance between how fast do you want to move forward and how long do you hold on to the old stuff. And so yeah, Windows 7 is being dropped from Boot Camp, so you can't run Windows 7 on any new Macs at the very least.
What's interesting is since we'll stay on the Apple thing, here at Hope we're
like what
98%
yeah.
Apple. So there was a news out that the Apple sales for Apple Watch had dropped by 90%, and so I mentioned that to Greg, and I know Greg. Greg reads every RSS feed known to man.
I have no life.
No, he has a life. He's just a supercomputer. Sometimes when he's sitting there and I think he's asleep, then I think, wait, he's probably just rebooting. But yeah, Greg had a good a tidbit of information about that actually.
Yeah. So the story went around all the blogs that the sales for the Apple Watch dropped 90% over the past whatever it was since the last time they released figures. And the trouble with that is those numbers aren't coming from Apple. Apple hasn't yet to release any figures for their sales, which they usually do with a new product. They don't usually release sales information on their new products until a year or two down the road. So where these numbers are coming from is from an advertising intelligence company that it actually indexes people's email inboxes, and it looks at sales receipts. And so that's how they're getting the information. But the trouble with that is, of course, it's a reasonably small sample size, and it's whatever individuals have opted in, or, as the case may be, failed to opt out.
Yeah.
To this particular service.
Yeah, such a small waiting pool to get information.
Right, exactly.
From.
And so whenever all the sales were supposedly peaking, that all that particular type of individual who had subscribed or gotten opted into this particular service, they all came up in a big bunch. And then once they've got the Apple Watch, then that particular group of people, they aren't going to go buying a whole bunch more, so they've already hit saturation at that point.
Yeah.
Plus, as everybody knows, Apple always releases new iOS stuff in the fall, new iPhones, new iPads, that sort of thing. And though that's still a couple months down the road, why would you buy an Apple Watch now knowing that a new one's probably coming out in like 3 months' time? So that's always the cycle. That around this time of year, every year, there's always news stories going around. Sales for iPhone plummet. Sales for iPad falls through the floor. So that's just the normal yearly cycle for Apple.
Yeah, that is. And the numbers will look better in a year from now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, then we'll know some real information. And, and heck, by that time, there'll be a new Apple Watch out.
Yes, as
so
always.
it won't matter. Hey, what's really cool is I always like to give you a little Google information out there. And David reminded me that Google Camp starts July the 13th. And now you're probably asking yourself, what's Google Camp? Well, it's whenever
everybody goes and they do all this data mining for Google. They put all the kids in a tiny packed room and they search the web. Yeah,
that's exactly what it is. It's a sweatshop for children to search the web. No, it's Google Camp is pretty cool. It starts July 13th. You can find it on the web at camp.withgoogle.com. So I'll put that out again, and we'll throw it up on the website if you're looking for it. That website's edutechguys.com. I'll also tweet about it here in a second. David hates it when I do that. So yeah, I'll tweet about it here in just a second. But yeah, if you want to take a look at it, camp is really cool. It starts July 13th. This year, they have an Ocean Week, a Space Week, a Nature Week, and a Music Week.
So it focuses on science and the arts and that sort of thing.
It's a STEAM thing. Here we go with STEAM. I mean, science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. Is that what that stands for?
This is the first time I've actually ever heard that acronym.
STEAM. It's like STEM.
You said STEAM, and I'm thinking the video gaming service.
That's what it is. And then you use the cool magnetic hand to pull cars and throw them at people.
Yeah.
No, STEM is what we've always done: science, technology, engineering, and mathematics.
That one I knew.
Well, the new one is STEAM because they realized they should add the arts in there.
Right.
And so now it's STEAM. We put arts in there between engineering and mathematics. But yeah, if you want to check them out, they've got some great stuff. If you're wondering about what it is, mostly it's for kids. It's geared towards kids ages 7 to 10. Anybody can participate. You don't have to register your kid to do it. They can go to the thing and just go along with the whole stuff. It's free, so free's always good.
Oh yeah.
If your kids are on the iPads or on the tablets or the phones or the crazy box, then go ahead and let them get on there. It's going on, and they'll have it so that there'll be an archive, so you can always go back if a kid misses something. Like one week they wanted to do that, but you were taking them off to get attacked by a shark in North Carolina. Then I'm just kidding. That was terrible. If you wanted to go to the beach, then you can always catch back up with it. What's really cool about it is the people that they got together with. Who designed it? Google engineers, Khan Academy, National Geographic, NASA, the National Park Service, tons of folks. The online safety stuff, it's going to be great. Google's going to make sure that all of their links are beautiful and the whole bit. So you definitely want to check out camp.withgoogle.com. One more time, camp.withgoogle.com. I tell you what we're probably going to do is I think we've
covered the basics. It's a short show since we lost half of our content coming up to it, and we lost David to help us pad stuff out. So we had to roll with the punches on this one.
It is what it is. But hey, we want to thank you for listening to EduTech Guys Radio. We will be back next Wednesday at 3 o'clock with a chock full show. Heck, we'll go an hour and a half next week just to make up for it. And I won't stutter as much. I don't know what's up with me. I think it's sleep. See,
it's the sleep distribution.
It's a sleep deprivation that I'm having. So yeah, thanks for listening to EduTech Guys Radio. EduTechGuys.com. Check out the website. There's a ton of good blog articles up on there. I'm sure David's probably writing one now about how we have to get Jeff off the radio because he stutters too much. Once again, thanks for being here. You're listening to EduTech Guys Radio. Welcome to EduTech Radio. Radio.edutechguys.com.